Welcome back to the Peggy Smedley Show, the podcasting voice of IoT and digital transformation.
Welcome back to the Peggy Smedley Show. We're coming to you live from CES 2019, and I have to tell you, we've been talking about connected vehicles, we've been talking about smart cities, but now it's time to switch it up a little bit. Now I'm sitting here with Fereydoun Taslimi. He's the founder of SensorsCall. Fereydoun, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
So Fereydoun, I like having you on because we're switching it up a little bit. We're actually talking about a product that actually helps you kind of monitor, you know, I guess the elderly or whatever it might be. But I love your personal story about being in Iran, studying in England, and I don't want to tell the story. I want you to tell the story because I think it's kind of nice that we're kind of talking about a product that's near and dear to all of us because we're all going to get older. We're all going to maybe need to be monitored. But we always don't want to wear something that signifies we're getting old. So, I mean, I'm getting there, and I know I'm monitoring. I have a device already that is monitoring our elderly already. So let's talk a little bit but tell us a little bit about you personally, why, you know, how you ended up coming, you know, from England, and now you have a product here in Eureka Park. But you tell it a little bit.
Sure. I was a kid when I was about 14 years old. I left, this was in 1968, 69. I picked up 2 big bags, went to England, did my high school there. Then I went to University of London. Did my undergraduate there in electronics, University of London, King's College. And then I came to Georgia Tech to do artificial intelligence. And the professor left after a while, so I ended up trying to figure out what to do. So I came up with the idea of some kind of a multilingual computer. At that time, you know, the PC wasn't out there, and that was something novel. And started from there, found a company in Atlanta that was making some terminals, modified that, turned it into a computer. From there, I went on, did about 10 startups, all in technology. In the beginning in the hardware, later on in software. But then 2.5 years ago, I was getting bored with what I'm doing. And my mother-in-law lives about 2.5 miles from us. And my wife is always concerned about her. One night, she'd gone out shopping, so my wife called her up to see if she's back okay. And we couldn't get hold of her. The landline was busy. This is something she does all the time. She never hangs up the landline. Her cell phone was out of charge, and basically...
basically, your wife was freaking out, let's just say.
Exactly. So we ran into the car, we get in the car, go to her house, and she's sitting there watching TV.
She was fine. She was watching TV, but your wife was just really concerned about what was happening with your mother-in-law.
Right.
And that's something all of us experience one way or another with our loved ones.
Exactly. So we decided to put a camera there, and that didn't go well. So he said, wait a minute, this is a real problem. So I started looking into this aging market, and it's really incredible. Actually, somebody wrote a book about it, kind of one of the largest hidden market that people don't think about. So about 10 or 11,000 people are entering into the senior market in the United States alone.
There's a lot of us baby boomers getting there right now, I'm just telling you.
Exactly. So started coming up with the idea of what to do and so on, and most important thing was how do you protect people's privacy? So one, we have no camera. Second, we don't listen to the words. We listen to the sound, but we don't listen to the words. So after 2.5 years, we came up with what we call Care Alert. Basically, it's a device that has a whole bunch of sensors in it, and it listens to sound as far as the lights is concerned, light and motion and humidity, temperature, VOC, volatile organic compounds. And so using that information, we create what event is happening in your home. So we suggest putting one in a bedroom, one in a bathroom, one in the living room.
So you have 3 different locations that you're putting this in the house.
Exactly. So by looking at the data, we can tell whether you actually slept okay last night. Did you go to the bathroom 5 times? For example, if your dad went to the bathroom 5 times at night, maybe there's something wrong. So we try to detect toilet flushing, for example.
How many times you're flushing the toilet? You're recording this.
Well, no, it's not a recording. It actually detects that some event happened, and we
events,
think it's,
recording
exactly.
the events then.
Right. We don't actually record anything. So there's no recording being done. We try to do, looking at the signal at that time, decide, okay, we think this is happening.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And then based on that, we try to create, through our machine learning, develop what it is that is happening. And we alert the caregiver on their cell phone. And then from there, we can also give you some ideas about activity and possibly social interaction. One of the worst health hazards for seniors is actually lack of social interaction. That's even worse than bad nutrition and worse than exercise. So we may be able to even tell you whether they have social interaction and things like that or not. The other problem we solve is this question of communication. How do you get hold of them in a way that the communication control is in your hand? So through the app, you pull it up, and you can press a button and say, "Hey, Mom, what's happening? Why don't you answer your phone? Why don't you call me?" So she can actually talk back and say, "Hey, sorry, whatever,
So there's a lot of communication that you can have to and from without having to actually wear any device, but you can actually have things based on what's actually learning from the actions that are happening in the home.
Exactly. And a lot of older people, they just don't like to wear those things because, again, it advertises they're old. And again, that particular product is good for accidents, when an accident happens. In our case, we like to bring a peace of mind to the caregiver. I just want to know my dad or my mom got up in the morning okay.
So basically what's happening is you want this to learn events that are happening in the house. So you can say, it's not only happening that I've fallen and you're taking immediate action like what you're saying a pendant has when you're wearing it, because then you say, I want to call an EMT to come get me, but that's why I'm wearing a pendant. In this scenario, you're saying as an AI device, it's learning kind of things that are happening, that are going on. And so it's I've been using the wrong words, recording, but it's sensing things that are occurring in the house.
Exactly. And our model is very similar to Tesla. If you bought a Tesla 3 years ago, half of the functionality wasn't there. As time went on, they actually, one day you get up in the morning, you see, hey, there's a new software, you download it, now you have some functionality. So as we learn the stuff here, we can add other things to it also. For example, we can connect to other devices too, like a scale. The data shows that if you weigh yourself every day, you're healthier. A very simple thing. So the question is, how do you detect that? Well, we can have one of these smart scales, and we can actually detect that. We can connect to it, and we can actually let the caregiver know, so okay, they've weighed themselves this week. And we can actually do some other stuff too. For example, turn the light green. Hey, Mom, if the light turns green this week, I'm going to take you out to a movie, and so on. So actually bring some incentives.
So you're actually doing a gamification on this as well.
Exactly, yes.
So when you look at this right now, is it ready? Are you shipping it now?
No, we are in the final stages of prototype. We've almost selected a contract manufacturer. It's a Q2 that we will be delivering.
So looking at this, what are you looking at as in cost then?
The cost of each device is about $140. But we're going to come up with packages of 1 and 3 and 5. So if you buy 3, it'll be less, and 5, it'll be less. First year, the monitoring is free. The subsequent years, it's about $150, $200 a year flat.
So looking at this, how do you think response is going? What response is? You're at Eureka Park right now?
Yes.
How's response been as people are coming by and seeing this product? What have people been saying?
Well, everybody has their own story. Everybody says, I have a grandma, I have my father really needs it, and so on. And I think it's been great. And also, we met other people that maybe we can partner with. People who are developing some stuff for the care industry, for example, and at-home care.
So looking at this, some of the biggest trends in home especially are aging in place, as you just described. Do you see right now that we have a population that we need to take care of and you've been looking at the products, you know, in Eureka Park, there's so many there, so many great innovators. Your thoughts are in partnering right now. What do you think the biggest challenge are? Because you know, being here as an innovator yourself, that a lot of great ideas come and go. What do you think the biggest risk you have with this product right now in getting it to market?
Well, the go-to marketing is the biggest risk, because the story is very simple. Many of these products you see out there, they explain it to you 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you still don't know what it does. This one is very simple. In one line, you can explain it. The question is reaching that sandwich generation, the generation that not only they look after their kids, they're also looking after their parents, and they're going through this pain of making sure the parents are okay. How do you reach them? And at the same time, we must offer some features and advantages to the seniors too, because you have to give them something. Otherwise, they say, hey, I don't want to be monitored. And monitoring is a kind of a strange, it has its own connotations. So we are looking at things like maybe we can detect if you leave the oven on. And that's just something that even we do. So we can tell you that. Sometimes they leave the shower on or the faucet on, and that's generally not good. So we can give you that information. And the other thing is we also monitor the environment. So if you have, I'm a little bit asthmatic, and then when the humidity goes up, I actually feel it. So in your parents' home, how can you tell the humidity is up? Maybe there's a leak somewhere, maybe there's a water leak, or something's happening. We can actually tell you that. Maybe you should look into that. Things like that. That was useful to the seniors themselves. So
the idea is really make this more valuable in other ways than you just think of just simple monitoring. The idea is other things that might bring benefits. That's what you're looking to do. Have you talked to companies right now about how you're able to do that as you bring these things on the app? How has the app been shaping up?
The app is pretty good. We've, let's see, let me just bring it up here. Oops. Okay, here's this. This is the great XS feature. I can't even. Okay, here. Let's see. Let's do this. Oh, there you are. Okay. Care alert.
See if we can make sure everybody takes a quick look. If you want to put it out that way.
So basically, this is the dashboard. The idea is not to be connected to your app all the time, but we can give you some ideas. Is everything overall okay? Oops, let me just go back. And how is their environment? We talk about an activity too, because that's important. Are they active and what's happening? And their comfort level, for example, here. And so this app is pretty well developed. We're working on event identification. An event being they got up in the morning, they went to the bathroom, they came back, and things like that. So
that's great. So you're getting to see all the different things that happen in the house. So whether you're looking at whether they're cooking, whether they're in the bathroom, what are all the other things that are actually happening. So that makes a real opportunity for you to engage all these things. So when you look at this, are you now seeing that as time goes on, that you'll be able to bring this to market sooner for other products down the road as well? Or is this the only product you want to bring to market?
Well, there's a whole series of ideas we have. Our machine learning has to recognize a lot of other things and possibly correlate this with potential diseases. One of the things would be to forecast, maybe prevent some events. Give me an example. If you can measure the gait, this is the distance a person goes from point A to point B. By measuring that, to some extent, you can tell, is there a possibility of a fall, for example? So, and actually there are people working on devices try to forecast fall 6 months before it happens. So maybe with using that information, we can tell what is happening, things that we can prevent. And the other things are, one of the things we're looking at, connect to actually regular watches. So we can talk to, if for example, there is no activity in the house, but we know they're in the house. So somehow, if we can say, look at the watch, and look at the, for example, the last temperature they had, or the last reading they had, we can say, okay, maybe they've fallen asleep somewhere in a corner and everything is fine. So there's a whole slew of all those happening. Our final goal is to be able to have a device that you include in your house, very similar to a smoke detector, a motion sensor, that actually looks after your well-being of the people in there and protect their privacy. That's the final goal.
And that's the thing. You want to make sure that there's a device that they're comfortable with and you're protecting their privacy and looking at things that help them feel more comfortable.
Exactly.
So what's your booth number at Eureka Park right now?
Oh, our booth number, I should know this by heart, but...
well, at least we know you're at Eureka Park.
Yes, we're at Eureka Park, and...
that's okay. You're at Eureka Park. They can find you. You're at SensorsCall.
Yes.
What's your website? What is your website?
The website is the name of the product, carealert.io, or sensorscall.com.
All right. Well, Fereydoun Taslimi. So, if I say that right?
Taslimi, yes, perfect.
Thank you for being with us, and we appreciate all the time they have, and we wish you much success with it.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
All right, well, we're out of time for this segment. This is the Peggy Smedley Show, the podcasting voice of IoT and digital transformation. Remember, with great technology comes great responsibility. We'll be right back. Stick around right after this short break.